saċjan dilton o golda. Biggie let's talk scene pura holda. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie let's talk. Għalla maħrijan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storjan saċjan dilton o golda. Biggie let's talk scene pura holda. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie let's talk. Għalla maħrijan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storjan saċjan dilton o golda. Biggie let's talk scene pura holda. Yo, Biggie inside.
Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah. So now,
Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 come see me. Gossip and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Oi, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. It's just Biggie, come let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 come see me. Gossip and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Oi, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. It's just Biggie, come let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 come see me. Gap, shop, and gossip is what. Yeah, Biggie. Let's talk. Yo, Biggie, watch the gossip. Interviewing the best. Finding out the tips and tricks. Yo, Biggie. Let's talk.
let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie on the mic. We're talking truth, no hype. Drop everything and hear what's up. It's Biggie time, so let's light things up.
Listen up, Biggie in the studio, where the real talk flows, yo. The vibe is buzzing, the truth is loud, but Biggie talking calm, keeping it proud.
We got stories of struggle, from hardship to hope, from the block to the globe.
Yo, Biggie, break it down, break it clear. No filter, no lie, just sincere.
Follow Biggie, 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 hit like and let's talk. We're not about drama, just about the life we walk. Drop everything and hear what's up. It's Biggie time, so let's light things up.
We talk about money, we talk about pain. The pain of the youth, the loss of the main. Biggie talk about love, about family ties. All the good and all the lies.
We break the chains of ignorance, show the truth with our own language.
We're building a bridge over the storm. Keep it steady, keep it warm.
Follow Biggie, 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 hit like and let's talk. We're not about drama, just about the life we walk. Drop everything and hear what's up. It's Biggie time, so let's light things up. So let's light things up. So let's light things up.
From the suburbs to the skyline, from the sunrise to the shine.
We're turning the page, turning the page. We'll break the walls, we'll break the cage.
Biggie on mic with heat to your ear. What's happening in the world, no fear. We talk about peace, we talk about love. We talk about hope like a dove.
We keep the rhythm, keep the rhyme. We'll light the way through the night. Follow Biggie, 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 hit it like a let's talk. We're not about drama, just about the life we walk. Drop everything, get it till what's up. It's Biggie time, so let's light things up. Biggie, 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 hit it like a let's talk. We're not about drama, just about the life we walk. Drop everything, get it till what's up. It's Biggie time, so let's light things up. So let's light things up.
Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie, let's talk. Galla maħrijan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storjan sarċjan dilton o bolda. Biggie, let's talk. Sin pura holda. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie, let's talk. Galla maħrijan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storjan sarċjan dilton o bolda. Biggie, let's talk. Sin pura holda.
Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah.
Biggie, Biggie, Biggie.
Let's talk, let's talk.
Biggie, 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 come see me. Gossip and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie.
Let's talk,
Let's talk.
let's talk.
Let's talk.
Oi, Biggie.
Let's talk,
Let's talk.
let's talk.
Let's talk.
It's just Biggie, come let's talk.
Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie.
Let's talk, let's talk.
Biggie, 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 come see me. Gossip and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie.
Let's talk,
Let's talk.
let's talk.
Let's talk.
Oi, Biggie.
Let's talk,
Let's talk.
let's talk.
Let's talk.
It's just Biggie, come let's talk.
Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 come see me. Gap shop and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. It's just Biggie, come, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk. Biggie, 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 let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, 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 come see me. Gap shop and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. It's just Biggie, come, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, come see me. Gap shop and gossip is what you need. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Oi, Biggie, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. It's just Biggie, come, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Biggie. Let's talk, let's talk. Biggie, let's talk. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie, let's talk. Galam wakhriyan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storyan saċjan dilton o bolda. Biggie, let's talk. Scene pura holda. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie inside. Yo, Biggie inside. Biggie, let's talk. Galam wakhriyan bolda. YouTube te live hardin crowd rolda. Storyan saċjan dilton o bolda. Biggie, let's talk. Scene pura holda.
Biggie, let's talk. Everybody tune in when the beat drop. Biggie, let's talk. Real vibes, real people, never gonna stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Subscribe to me on YouTube, run it non-stop. Yeah. Biggie, let's talk. Like hype and stuff, take it straight to the top. Yeah.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. What's happening, people? Welcome to Biggie Let's Talk, episode 77. Let's just move that out of the way because when Gurdev comes, it's going to be in his face. Hope everyone's good, hope everyone's well on this hot day. Proper chep day. Hope everyone's good, hope everyone's well. So today's guest, in case you didn't know, is somebody that is commanding the stage at the moment. No, my story likhiye. So as much as obviously everybody knows that Dhol players, right? But this guy is gone next route. So we're going to find out where he started, where he is now, what's happening in the future. But it's not just your average Dhol player. It's not like so I can call that Dhol player and give him 20, 30 pound. This guy's built up a little company, his own empire called Dhol Collective. So hats off to him. He also does a lot of shows. So as long as you're apart from your weddings and your parties, he's doing like festivals and going to like streets, going to like high streets, performing there with his crew. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the show my man, Gurdev Singh. Hold on, where is he? Gurdev, what's happening, my brother?
How you doing? You all right? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. How you okay?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
I try, man. I try, but yes, well, it's true, man. You're smashing it at the moment. So Gurdev, so you're local to me anyway, innit? We know that.
Literally around the corner, you're like just top of the road.
About 30 seconds, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me where your Dhol journey started.
So my Dhol journey started, I think probably like a lot of people my age, because I'm not 21, in the 90s. So I would say that it started with my love for Bhangra. So I think we were quite lucky actually growing up in the 90s. There was a lot of really good Bhangra with a lot of good percussion in it. So whether you're talking about Dholki, tabla, or what really started to catch my ear was Dhol, then that's where it really started. So I was learning a bit of tabla when I was a kid. My dad used to organise a music class at the Gurdwara when I was about like 13, that sort of age. So I started playing a little bit of tabla, maybe for about 18 months, something like this. And because
were you one of these guys at school that's always like banging on the table?
Yeah.
Doing that, yeah. I just go to school with a few of those kind of people. Always, if it's not the kara that's knocking on the table when they're writing, it used to be that's it. That's what it is.
I'm tapping everywhere. Even now, I'm tapping on steering wheels, tapping on when you're on the trolley and you're taking the trolley around shopping. I'm tapping. If I'm walking, I'm listening to music while I'm dropping my girls to school on the way back. I'm tapping on my legs. I'm tapping everywhere.
Yeah, so that's how the journey started. Obviously, back then it was just like put rumors on. Even before then, it put Mr. Loverman on, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, when I first started playing Dhol, I had no, I hadn't really seen people perform Dhol the way that I then started to perform Dhol when I started to get to a place where I was good enough to actually start going to like gigs and that kind of thing. And then you're right, things like Rumors, things like Loverman, all those sort of really popular tracks all players before me had played to. Then I got the opportunity to play on some of those tracks.
Fantastic. Okay, do you remember your very first performance?
My first performance, the one that really sticks out in my mind and what shapes me a lot, was a performance that I did with Dhol Foundation back in, it was around 1996 or 97, this sort of time, probably 96 to be fair. And I don't know if you remember, they used to do something called the Slough Festival. So this is before the Slough Mela, they used to have the Slough Festival.
Was it still at Upton Court Park?
Still at Upton Court Park, yeah. So on stage you had a LARP. And funny enough, I saw Johnny from a LARP only a couple of weeks ago, and I reminded him of it, and it was quite a nice memory to share with him. But Dibs was playing Dhol with a LARP, and I think I'd only been playing Dhol for a few months at this point. I was lucky enough to be selected to join the Dhol Foundation lineup as part of the halftime show when a LARP were playing, and that was my first experience of playing Dhol on a stage. And it was unbelievable because you just had loads and loads of people in the crowd. It was a festival type setup. So it wasn't actually a wedding or anything like that, but that was like my first proper gig where it was like... That was
your first proper gig, but before you did that gig, did you do anything like a house party or anything? Oh,
exactly that.
Play at the jungle night.
Exactly that, all of that kind of stuff really. So I think once I've started playing Dhol initially, because I picked up the basics pretty quick, at around that time that I was with Dhol Foundation, like I said, I was only with them for about maybe 6 to 9 months, something like this. Then, I think I did a family wedding in East London. It was a cousin sister of mine, got the opportunity to play Dhol at her wedding. So back then it was all good fun as well. You're playing Dhol, you're just, playing whatever you can play. And it was, you didn't have to worry about backing tracks. You didn't have to worry about DJs. If you were just playing Dhol, people were enjoying it just for the Dhol. So a lot of it, to be fair, when I first started playing Dhol, was acoustic Dhol playing. It wasn't any of the sets and stuff like that. I never really got into that until afterwards.
Okay, so tell me a bit about Gurdev Dhol Collective. How did that come about? And how many are there in the group now?
Say that again, sorry?
How many are there in the group?
In the group, so in terms of the performance team, the main performance team, there is 4 of us with like an additional guy that's recently joined up as a part-timer. So it's a very tight-knit, small group of pro Dhol players. And then if I do the festival stage, then it's anywhere between 4 to about 10 of us. So which includes my 2 daughters, which is lovely.
So when I saw you at Scotch Bar, is that the main team?
So that day you saw me at Scotch Bar, so it was me, Jags, and it was Kamal. So yeah, my brother's been part of Dholplayer Collective when it turned into Dhol Collective, since 2008. So he's been with me for a little while now. And then Kamal, who was one of the other drummers, funny enough, he used to learn Dhol when I was with another Dhol group called Ministry of Dhol, and I used to teach at their class in Cranford, and he was one of the students there. And then he joined up with me, I think it was a couple of years ago. So he's now become part of the core team as a part-time Dhol player, because a bit like me, he's a dad, he's got kids, and so he's quite busy as well.
Excellent. Okay, for someone who's never seen it live, what makes your Dhol performance powerful and unique?
The main thing that I would say stands out about Dhol Collective, and this isn't really based on my feedback, I say it's based on the feedback of people that have seen us and been kind enough to either come up to us and give us their feedback or leave feedback on things like Google reviews, is that it's the energy that we bring more than anything else. What really makes us unique, and now that you've had the chance to see us more recently, I get on the mic, I try to talk to the audience, a bit like big bands talk to their audience. This is kind of one of the ethoses that we've got hard-coded into Dhol Collective, is that we really want to connect with our audience, not just through the Dhol, but even by talking to them and dialoguing with them and all this kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the main things that for me makes Dhol Collective special. So the energy, the positivity, the vibes that we bring, and the fact that we really do try to connect with our audience.
And you're doing great because you're fully booked out all the time, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're as busy as we want to be. So all of us in various forms are either married or in relationships, or in my case, I've got 2 daughters, a couple of the other guys have got kids. So we're always trying to balance what we're doing on the gigs that we want to perform at with family life and the other commitments that we've got. So it's not like what it was like when we were in our early 20s, Biggie, where we were like doing 3 or 4 bookings in a weekend, you know, because we could do that as well. You know, like weddings have changed a lot. Predominantly they're in the evenings, whereas before you could have one during the day, one in the evening. You know, you could knock out a Barat entrance, you could do a 1 to 6 in Crown Conference, then you could like shoot over to Slough Centre and do an evening function there, or go to Radisson and Wardian, or whatever it might be. You could squash in like loads and loads of bookings. But for us, we're not in that place anymore. You know, there's a new contingent of young Dhol players that are going out there doing that kind of volume. But the things that we want to do, we're doing. So we're doing the type of weddings where people really want us and equally are happy to pay us, because that's really important. And then we're doing a lot of festival work as well. So a big part of Dhol Collective is actually branching out and showing people Dhol that have never seen it before, but not just Dhol. It's a whole kind of fusion entertainment piece. And that's, again, another unique thing about Dhol Collective, I would say.
How did you get into all that festival stuff? You know, like the Horsham you went to recently, I saw a video on your Instagram.
Yeah, that's it.
That's brilliant.
Horsham's been unbelievable. We've done about 4 performances in Horsham. The festival we just played out on the weekend that you saw the video of was a collaboration with Steve Oss and Babyflex. Previously, we always collaborate with Steve Oss. He's like a long-time collaborator, brother, top guy, extremely talented, and just a pleasure to share the stage with. But there's been loads of things that have sort of come together to get us to a place where we can do festivals like that. But if coming back to the earlier story about when I'd first done a gig with Dhol Foundation, that's almost what planted the seed of festivals, because that buzz I got from playing on that stage, I never forgot it. And then when I did stuff with Ministry of Dhol to the early 2000s, again, you know, I was part of ADF, and I got the opportunity to see the festivals that he was performing at, and I just got a bug for it. So when Dhol Collective got to a point where I was like, right, I want to do this, and I want young people to experience what I experienced, that was the start of the journey of getting Dhol Collective into effectively community events. That's kind of where we started it. We started to do community events, kept building, and now we're lucky enough to be playing festivals. So still loads of other
so
festivals.
it's like networking. Do you have to contact the festival people and say to them?
Yeah, a little bit of both. In some cases, you know, we've reached out to people that run festivals. But what's quite nice is, because of social media, because of all the things that we you know, publish a lot of our videos on, that enables us to connect with people. And, you know, it's a bit of manifestation, and it's a bit of the algorithm. Sometimes you get fortuitous sort of circumstances where people stumble upon your video, they like what we do, we have a conversation, they like the vibe that, you know, we bring, they like the professionalism, and the stars align, and yeah, we make it work. And if the budgets are there, then we're more than happy to go down and do something.
Okay, what separates a good Dhol player from an average one? So, like, from your bedroom Dhol player to...
Do you know what? I think it's having strong acoustic playing. So if you've got strong acoustic playing and you can entertain people with your Dhol just because of your Dhol playing, and it's got nothing to do with the music, that is almost the beginning of being able to then do something with music. However, if you're kind of Dhol player who just starts playing to music straight off the bat, and you do that in your bedroom, and then you jump on stage and you think that you're a good Dhol player because you're playing to music, but actually, how do you know it's not the music doing the hard work? So I think that for me is really important. Like I talk about my journey and being really lucky to play acoustic first, but if people don't dance to your acoustic playing, chances are they're not going to dance to your playing when you're playing to backing tracks and music. And if they do, you have to ask yourself a question: is it because of you, the Dhol player, or is it because of the music?
It's true. But saying that, a lot of Dhol players have started with the other way, haven't they? Been like a bedroom Dhol.
Yeah, there's Dhol is probably guilty for having way too many self-taught Dhol players. People that hear something on YouTube, maybe hear something on social media, pick up the Dhol, maybe don't even learn how to hold the sticks correctly, start playing Dhol, you know, get to a place where maybe their parents say, oh my God, you're fantastic, because that's what your parents do, right? They encourage you. But what they also do is they create a false environment, a false economy, where maybe what they're doing is they're making you think you're better than you are. So, yeah, Dhol is definitely guilty of that. I don't see many tabla players who are self-taught. I don't see many violin players that are self-taught. I don't see many saxophonists that are self-taught. You know, somewhere along the line, a lot of these guys, when they hit the stage and they're blessed enough to be selected or blessed enough to be booked to be on a stage, it's because they've grafted on their raw talent, and then they've got their raw talent to a place where it's a bit more polished, and they can present that talent to an audience. But with Dhol, it's a weird thing. People just, maybe have a Dhol for about 6 months, and then they say, oh, I'm going to set up a Dhol group. They call it something, and then they go out there and they start performing. So, it's good for everyone to have dreams, but it's also important to have a discipline and respect the color. I think that's a really important thing. So I'm a big advocate of learning Dhol properly, because I'm still on my Dhol learning journey, and I've been learning now for 30 years, and I will continue to learn for another 30 years as long as my health permits. So like I said, I'm a big advocate for learning Dhol properly. Like, find yourself a teacher.
Same goes for like DJs. I was talking to Dimitri Indy Bansal, and he goes, there's so many DJs on the scene now. He goes, but there's room for everybody. There's plenty of bookings for everybody. And he goes,
and you know what? Trust me, there's always going to be work for everybody, but there's also going to be a depreciation in the market, right? So there's also always going to be people that come into the market and just bottom the market out. So there's work, but is there sustainable work? And that's another important thing. And I think the wedding industry is getting to a point where some providers in the industry are not doing sustainable work. That's Dhol players, DJs, maybe caterers. Preeti Catering very recently shut shop, right? And that's a veteran caterer. They shut their doors because I think they realized that there's not as much money in the market anymore. So yeah, you do get newbies on the market, but what are they doing to the market, right? So we talk about there being a lot of work. It's easy to say that, but equally, it's a bit sad to see the market going like this.
Okay, with DJs, I know that they have a little get together every now and again. All the DJ companies, so you might have Caliber, Kudos, Sting. They get together every quarter or twice a year to sit down and say, listen, this is how much we're going to charge. This is the lowest we're going to go. This is what packages we've got. Blah blah blah. Do you totally do that?
That's called collusion, by the way. That's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. No, we don't. Honestly, we don't do that. And to be fair, Dhol Collective and the way that I run my team, the way that I talk to my team, we very much run in our own track. So I'll tell you something really interesting. We don't actually do that many bookings on the Asian wedding scene. We're not like, we maybe only see one of the big DJs, like, for example, Caliber, maybe once or twice a year, because all of the other Dhol groups predominantly cover that market. So because we run in our own track, we're very focused on what we're doing, and we run our journey. We're basically focused on us, and we're focused on our product, our service, how we want to be recognized in the marketplace, but ultimately what it is that we want to do. So yeah, we don't do that whole collusion thing. We don't set prices. We have our price. We know what we're worth. If people like us, they pay us without negotiation. If people negotiate, typically I'll just back out and say, you're better off booking somebody else, because that's not us.
But have you been to a function where there's been another Dhol group there at the same time? Because, say, the girl side of that one and the boy side of that one.
No, as far as from a Dhol Collective perspective, no. I mean, to be fair, like I say, again, when people book us, because we charge probably higher than average, not the highest, but higher than average, then typically when people book us, they book us. They don't really book anybody else because they want us to do what we do. We may bump into Dhol players at industry events, like at the beginning of the year. We were lucky enough to go to the Ragastan event where they had a whole load of suppliers from the industry, and we got to have some really lovely conversations with other Dhol groups. One person that I really have a lot of respect for is Jay from the Dhol Company. Like, really nice guy. We actually met up and just had a really nice dinner a couple of years ago. Just, like, very open book conversation, and it was refreshing because I don't have that with a lot of other Dhol players and Dhol groups. But I think there's a level of respect amongst Dhol players, but there's a level of competition, which can sometimes mean that it's not that, what's the word? There's not that much free conversation and getting together. So, but it's different for everybody, like, I can't comment on every single Dhol group and the relationships.
Okay, what's been your most unforgettable memory or moment, performance-wise?
Performance-wise, do you know what? Every time we go to a festival, people don't know who we are, but particularly when you go to a festival where it's like the minority. Let's say Asians are less than 5% of the audience. So realistically, people have got no reason to know who we are, like, respond to what we do or engage with us. But when we go there and we see people having the best time of their lives, every time that happens, it just sticks in my mind. I think now what's really special is when the guys in my team also get to experience that. And so when I asked them, I said, what did you enjoy about the event? And they're like, oh my God, those people were just having the best time. And they came up to me and they took a picture with me. Like, that's never happened to me before. It's a beautiful thing. Like it really, when you can affect that kind of positive reaction with people, it gives you a lot of satisfaction and pride. You feel so happy that you've been able to do that.
Especially when you go to an area, obviously Slough is mainly like an Asian area, but when you go to outside of Slough, like you do Bracknell, Horsham and all that side as well, so that's even better.
Yeah, when we go to areas where, like I say, where there's not a lot of Asian community, you know, if they love what you do, and Horsham is like, it's such a magical place because like they love us so much. Every time we go back there, they bring a friend. So they're like, these guys are amazing. You have to come and see this. So every time you go, the audience grows. And it's like, this is crazy. It's going to get to a point where, particularly when we do the one at the end of August, Friday late, I swear to God, it's going to get to a place where there's not enough space for the amount of people that are going to turn up. It kind of reminds me of Fatboy Slim when he played Brighton, and it became so packed that apparently people couldn't get trains home until the next morning. So that's the dream, man, is to get to a place where we have that many people come down where it takes them 12 hours to get back home.
It will happen, definitely. Okay, how do you read a crowd?
How do we read a crowd? I think through experience, through a lot of conversation amongst the team. So, you know, one of the lovely things about the team that I've got right now, and even the teams that I've had before. So, you know, when my cousin was part of the team, when some of my old friends were part of the team, and when, you know, like one of my other brothers was part of the team, we'd always talk about what worked and what didn't work. And that hasn't gone away today. So, you know, we'll look at a set and we'll say, okay, which part of the set really gelled with the audience and with us? Where was there a dead spot in the set? And we all have to be honest. We all have to be receptive to feedback. Sometimes I work on sets. Sometimes Arnie and the team works on sets. And sometimes, you know, a couple of the other guys will contribute things. And we all have to check each other and say, look, that didn't work. Maybe it worked a year ago. Maybe it doesn't work now. Maybe it's never worked and we have to change it up now. But I think equally, you know, there's got to be a more mature attitude that sometimes you put something in a set because you like it, but the audience might not like it. But equally, there might be something the audience really likes, but you don't like. And it's about compromise.
How often do you have to change a set?
So we've got a rule where we typically keep 80% of the sets the same and rotate 20% of the tracks to keep things fresh for the audience and keep things fresh for ourselves as well. Because
I remember, I think it was Elite Drummers, when they first started, they started doing a toll set to the song a timetable. You know, that Yep. And I always, even like when I see him now, I always say to him, play to that. And he goes, no, those days are going to go this card. They go, special item.
But you know what? I tell you what's nice as well, like with our set, because the way we run the set as well, I think we don't have a long continuous set. So our set is very modular. So we could go to one audience and it could be a fusion audience. And we can say, right, this is a fusion audience with a predominantly Hindu-like Asian contingent. So we're going to do more Bollywood and we're going to mix it up with a tiny bit of Bhangra, because some, you know, Bhangra still resonates a lot with.
It still smashes it wherever you go.
Exactly, and then we'll do some English stuff because we know we've got a good selection of English. But then we could go to a Punjabi function and it's like, right, we're going to do 90% Punjabi Bhangra and we'll do a little bit of English because again, you've got people in the audience that are going to like that. So we've got this kind of ability to maneuver the set to suit the audience, and we can do that straight away.
Okay, so you run tour classes as well in Slough and Bracknell, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. So I've got a door class every Monday in Slough, every Monday evening, and then one every Tuesday evening in Bracknell.
And what do youngsters normally struggle with the most? Picking it up.
Holding the sticks. I'll get you something really interesting here, Biggie. Like, you know, like when we grew up where Bhangra had a lot of dol in it. So, you know, we were being programmed with dol rhythms, dolki rhythms, tabla rhythms, all sorts of stuff was going into our ear. So we were learning just by listening. What's really challenging for the youth of today is if you listen to Bhangra today, it's so processed, hyper-produced, hip-hop focused, that all the percussion that typically used to be in a lot of the Bhangra that we used to listen to, it's not there anymore. So even
we are brought up with a lot of bands, weren't we? Like Apara Sagir, Hira, Premi, and that's not there anymore.
Exactly that. And even if someone did a remix, there was typically a long dol intro at the beginning of the track. So, you know, there was all of that stuff in the track that we were listening to. So that was inspiring us to say, oh, that tirke lagi at the beginning of Sakhiyan de Dhol. Oh, I want to learn how to play that, you know. So you used to be hungry to go and learn how to play that particular tirke. Whereas a lot of the youngsters now, it's different for them, because even if they listen to Punjabi music, like I say, it's so processed towards hip hop, they're not getting that in their ear. So the biggest challenge is just trying to teach them the basics, the basic rhythms. How, you know, this is the chal, this is how it sounds. You know, this is a duggan, this is a leria, these are the tirkets. So, you know, whatever it might be, trying to get them to learn the basics and learn those basic rhythms. I tend to find that for the newer generations, it's a lot harder.
So what's your youngest student at the moment?
The youngest student I've got at the moment, I think, is around about 9 years old, coming on to about 10 now.
And the oldest?
The oldest student I've got is probably somewhere around 50 to 55, somewhere around that number.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's brilliant.
Yeah, because you get, you know what, Biggie, you get a generation of people that are like, I've always wanted to learn Dhol. I didn't get the opportunity to do it when I was younger, but now I'm older and I've got the time because I'm retired, or, you know, maybe my kids have kind of gone out and they're married. So even if I'm not retired, I've just got a bit more time. So they like, I'm going to buy a Dhol and I'm going to learn it. That's what I want to do.
And I'm going to wind up the neighbors.
Wind up the neighbors, exactly that. Yeah, but yeah, good luck to them.
Okay, what's more rewarding, performing or teaching?
Do you know what? They're both rewarding in different ways. But over the years, because of the nature of the way we connect with audiences and the way we sort of almost give them this really beautiful, positive experience, I would say performing. I had someone come up to me last year. This is a really interesting one. So we were doing a festival in High Wycombe. It's in their local town. It's called Frog Fest. They put up 2 stages. I think this is the 5th year that we've done it. But last year, we finished the performance. We had Bhangra dancers on stage with us. This guy comes up, who's a white guy, comes over to me and really direct. Like, people tend to be quite direct with you after you finish performing. Either they love you or they'll just come up to you with a really profound piece of feedback. And he said to me, you know what, I thought Asians were idiots. And he goes, but after seeing you guys perform today, he goes, I've changed my mind, man. He goes, you guys are all right. And I was like, what did we do to change? Well, firstly, what happened to you that made you think that Asians were idiots? But then what did we do just now that suddenly made you completely U-turn and change your mind about, you know, what we're like? So, you know, stuff like that is like, it's quite deep. I don't know how to explain it. It's very primal. It's very deep. It's almost very spiritual, because you're like, well, that I've connected with somebody on a level that I never thought I could.
So you or the crew completely U-turned one person's opinion on a complete culture.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's just completely nuts, right? Like, when you can have that impact on somebody. So, you know, when you're at a festival, sometimes, you know, you've got audiences of maybe hundreds. Sometimes it might be slightly more than that. Sometimes now we're starting to go to festivals where Vaheguru Di Kirpa, there's thousands of people there. And, you know, like if that's one person's reaction, who's, you know, been bold enough to come and talk to you to say that, it's quite a nice thing that, you know, maybe I'm doing that to other people. And the other nice thing, which I really like, is up until Harkamal joined the team, I was the only Bagwala in the team, because everyone else is, you know, Monna. So that's the other nice thing is, you know, as a Bagwala, you're able to project hopefully something 100%. About a turban Sikh that is positive, you know, like, it's not all people in Southampton doing criminal activity. Like, you know, there are people like us who for a number of years have been going out and trying to do very positive things, you know, despite what we may have grown up in terms of the race-addicted environments and people trying to knock your bug off, or, you know, they say stupid things to you. You know, we have a responsibility to be, you know, very positive in how we project ourselves. And Dhol allows me to do that. Performing allows me to do that. Dhol Collective and the team that I've got allow me to do that.
Okay, have you performed abroad yet?
Yeah, you know what? We've done a number of destination weddings. I've also, again, through times that when I was with Ministry of Dhol, you know, through Pritpal's Trust, I was able to go out and do a few international events with ADF. So, you know, he put his trust in me and Devinder, and we got to represent, which was a lovely thing. And a bit more recently, you know, we've done what I'd almost call our first entry into a festival type booking in Ireland last year. If you've never been to Ireland, not Dublin, I'm talking about proper Ireland, that place is unbelievable. The love and just the people, man. The whole, you know, like they talk about people in Ireland being like Punjabis. Man, it's exactly like that. The love they show you. Really? You know, like we play Dhol and they're just the nicest people. They're just, you know, they're so interested in who you are when they hear your Dhol, because they have a lot of music in their culture, they instantly bond with you. Oh, this drum's amazing. You know, tell us about it. You know, there's a really interesting video put up where after the gig was finished, it's in a local pub. Some of the ladies hung around, and so they're like, you know, middle-aged, really, really nice ladies. And we were just chatting to them. And one of them was like, if you play your drum, I want to sing a song. And I was like, wicked. So she started singing this Irish song, no idea what it was. I'm playing a little bit of dhol. And it's just, you know, like when people talk about, you may not speak the same language, but music connects and binds you.
Together, yeah.
It's a great example of that.
100%. Okay, how important is it to pass cultural skills on to next generation? Because that's something obviously you're teaching the next generation.
Yeah, it's a really important thing to be able to do that. If I can pass dhol on to people in a positive way, if I can also pass along the idea that playing something like dhol is also about consistency, it's about discipline, it's about having a can-do attitude, and it's about respect for your other dhol players. All those other things which are an important part of our culture as well, not just the playing the dhol part, it's all the camaraderie part that sometimes we forget. That's an important part of who we are. I want to pass that on as well. So, you know, not all people are receptive to that. You'll be surprised how many people are not receptive to that. But that is also an important part of our culture. It's not just playing the drum, it's everything that goes with that drum as well.
Excellent. Okay, what's the reality of turning music into a business? So basically what you've done.
You know what? It's hard, because even Dhol Collective for me, it's not a full-time business. It's something that I do, you know, on the weekends and evenings. It feels like a full-time business because I put a lot of time in it, like the admin, social media, backing tracks, you know, trying to set things up, have conversations. I mean, it takes up a lot of my time. You know, sometimes I'm up here doing some editing stuff or I'm working on a backing track and my family's downstairs watching films, you know, like, so you end up putting in that time, and that's the reality. So
100%.
Look, it's like setting up any business. If you put in the time, if you have a vision, if you get into a place where you're lucky enough to have good members of your team and you're all supporting each other and you're really positive and you're grafting, then you can do it. But if your only way of entering a business is to charge 20, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, and, you know, you're trying to undercut everyone to get into the business, you know, I'd really think about that and say, look, have you got a viable business there? Is that what you've got? Or are you just going out there taking work cheap, but actually you're not building anything? So yeah, when you're building anything, be it a business, be it a team, be it, you know, something that you're working on that's really important to you, it takes time. And the reality is it's not easy. You have to sacrifice. You have to have a positive mindset and you have to have a vision. And I think Tony Robbins once said, people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And I have no qualms to say that we're on a long-term journey. So where we are today, where we were yesterday, and where we were 10 years ago, where we were 20 years ago, you know, it's changed a lot over the years. But yeah, we're on a good place now. I've got a beautiful team that I'm really happy with. And I've got so many blessings that are enabling us to go and do the things that we want to go and do.
Fantastic. What type of impact has social media have? Because obviously that's where I've seen most of your performances. I'm sure that's where everybody's seen most of your stuff.
Yeah, you know what? Social media, in some respects, has been a game changer. So one of the first notable impacts of social media was about 4 years ago. We got contact from someone in New York about a booking in the Bahamas. And then about 4 months later, we were in the Bahamas, me, Arnie and Jax, doing a wedding in Bahamas. That would never have happened if it wasn't for social media. So social media has definitely broken down those distances and those barriers. It's allowed people to see what we do. If they want to compare us to other dhol players, they can. If they've never seen any other dhol players, that's okay too. Hopefully when they see us, you know, we leave a positive impact. So I think social media has opened up loads of perceptions, loads of ideas, loads of connections. It's sort of made the world a little bit more of a smaller place, but it's also taken up a shed load of my time in terms of the amount of effort that we have to put in to creating the media content. And I've got, you know, one of the guys in the team, Arnie, he's a media editor. So he spends a lot of time, you know, also doing edits, looking at my edits. And, you know, we have to spend a lot of time doing that. And it's not easy. You know, sometimes you get to a point where you're like, I really don't want to open up TikTok. I really don't want to open up Instagram. And, you know, you just keep trucking forward. And, you know, it's a blessing, but it's also, it can be a bit of a sort of time drainer as well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Where do you see Dhol Collective in 5 years?
You know what? Hopefully we would have gotten to a place where people that haven't seen us we've connected with them. So my aim every 5 years is to pick up a new festival to allow us to connect with a new audience. And I hope that that festival is in a different part of the country. So in 5 years' time, I'd love to be in a place where we've got more national recognition, because we've done an event in Leeds, or we've done an event in Edinburgh, or we've done an event in Liverpool, or we've done an event in Bath, or maybe somewhere in East London. So I'd love to be in that place where we're kind of spreading what we do, the positivity and the joy, to loads of places around the UK.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer like doing Asian medley, or do you prefer doing festivals, or like where there's English community?
Festivals. I'll tell you why festivals, because they always put the right amount of money into the setup.
True.
Whereas when you go to a medley, not to say that some medley aren't good, because some medley, you know, they really do care about the sound systems they put up. They care about the staging areas they put up. You know, they care about the facilities and all the other things, you know, that they're providing for the people that have either bought tickets or have taken time out of their day to come to, you know, what might be an otherwise a free event, but they're going to go there, they're going to spend money. I tend to find at the moment that festivals, for whatever reason, tend to have more respect for the artist, because they understand the artist is a big part of what people are going to enjoy. And so therefore they'll give you better green room space. They'll give you better, things in your green room in terms of things like bottles of water and snacks and things like this. They'll give you better facilities. You know, when you get on the stage, they've got someone who's like a proper sound engineer to look after you. Yeah. So all the little things that you need that allows you to do a good performance, because it's not just us stepping on stage, hit the play button and you know, suddenly magic is going to happen. You've got to get a good sound check in. You've got to have people that know what they're doing. All those things, little things come together to create a very, very big output.
You know what? Having that right technician on the stage must make a huge difference, eh?
It's everything. Trust me, it's everything. Like, you could go on stage and there's no monitors. And you're like, how am I supposed to play Dhol if there's no monitors? Because all we can hear is Dhol. We can't hear the music. You know, like, people really struggle to understand that. And it's like, come and stand on stage with us when even if you've got 2 Dhol players, sometimes you can't hear anything but the other Dhol player. So, you know, you need monitors on stage. You need people to respect the fact that you need certain AV things, you know, in place to enable you to do the performance. So having people that have the rig, the technicians, the know-how, the understanding, again, all of that is super important to enable us to do what we do.
100%. Okay, what makes your Dhol Collective stand out from other Dhol groups in the UK?
Nothing. All the other Dhol groups are better than us. So, you know what? I'm going to say, again, I come back to the thing that I said before. It's not what I think it's what feedback we get from the audience. It's the vibes that we bring. It's the positivity. It's the engagement. It's the smiles. You know, there's a lot of people that come up to us and say, oh my God, you guys have got such beautiful smiles. You know, when they see my girls on stage, they're like, oh my God, your girls are so happy when they're playing Dhol. You know, even the guys that I've now got on stage with me, you know, the smile is more important than the purple t-shirt. So, you know, I'd say that type of approach to how we want to connect with the audience and what we want them to remember us for, those are the things that ultimately I hope give Dhol Collective a right to play and a right to carry on.
Okay, you do a lot of community work. Have you ever been recognised for it? Any recognition for it? And do you think you should have?
No, to be honest with you, not really. I mean, look, you know, judge me in about 10, 15 years, once we've gotten to a place where, you know, we've done the things I said we're going to do in terms of being known a little bit more nationally. You know, I think at the moment we're doing things locally. Maybe we're branching out to places a little bit, you know, further, places like Horsham, places like Bracknell. But yeah, up until I think we've conquered new destinations that we've not been to in the UK, I can't really say that we deserve any awards or that, you know, we deserve some sort of, I don't know, some sort of award for social work. I think there's other people that have done way more important things. I think Hajab Bungal, I know you're very good friends with. I mean, even he talked about the award that he was invited to accept, and he rejected it. And I agree with the reasons that he gave. So look, yeah, I'm not doing this for awards, to be honest. I don't want to sound corny when I say this. When people come up to me and they give me positive feedback about what we as a team do, that for me is recognition. That human level connection, that human level recognition, and just hopefully when other Singhs or other Asians are walking about, hopefully when someone's seen Dhol Collective, hopefully it makes their life a little bit easier, because someone's like, you know what, I saw those guys on stage I know a little bit more about who you are. So yeah, hopefully we're breaking down a few social barriers. Yeah,
Definitely.
like, you know, even though we've been in this, I'm first generation, you know, I'm 46 years old, you know, even after 46 years, to hear that, you know, there's still racism in this country is unbelievable. So hopefully the things that we do, even Steve Oss, you know, love music, hate violence, you know, even I'm pretty sure he would say the same thing. He's not doing it for awards. He's doing it because he doesn't want there to be this sort of negative activity, this negative stuff on the streets. You know, we want to give young people a chance. We want to give young people good experiences, but I also want to give older people a chance, and I want to give older people good experiences.
Okay. How have you impacted the local community through Dhol?
Say that again,
how have you impacted the local community through Dhol?
Oh, I think I've probably spoken about that a fair bit. I mean, hopefully with the local community, I've given them a chance to experience Dhol playing. Hopefully I've given them a chance to see Dhol players, to a performance.
So you know, like when you perform that like Horsham, I see the people's faces. Some of them actually never seen a Dhol in their life, have they?
Not at all. Even locally, there's probably people in Slough that have heard Dhol because maybe one of their neighbours is playing Dhol and they're getting sick and tired of their Gwandia. But I think, you know, like I say, when you're performing Dhol and they get a chance to see it live, it's a very different thing to playing it in a bedroom and, you know, you're practicing something and people may or may not, may or may not understand what it's all about. But yeah, when you kind of go out and you actually perform it, it is a lovely thing for people to see.
Okay, you mostly answered this one already, but can you give an example of where you think your Dhol work has made a huge difference?
Do you know what? It's the little stories of the Dhol players that have come to Dhol Collective because they've got some sort of objective in mind. So, you know, we had a lady called Sati that joined just after lockdown. I think it was just before lockdown she joined Dhol Collective, and she had this objective that she wanted to play Dhol at her sister's wedding. So being able to give Dhol, because I don't own Dhol playing, I'm simply a custodian of this beautiful drum and this beautiful art, which is why I always say I'm still learning it, because I'm hopefully trying to get to a place where my teachers say to me, okay, you're doing it all right now. They still haven't said that to me. They're still like, you're still learning. So, you know, being able to hopefully help somebody else on their journey and maybe achieve something that they want to achieve, that's quite a nice thing. Like, you know, like I say, not everyone's happy with the learnings and the teachings that I give them, but there are some people that have enjoyed it, have ticked the box of the thing they wanted to achieve, and that's a lovely thing.
Okay, what challenges have you faced with Dhol Collective and being a Dholi yourself?
People are a challenge, Biggie. You know, you meet loads of people with different characters, different ways of working, different ways of operating, different ways of communicating. And to build a successful team, I've had to learn how to adjust myself to those different characters, personalities, communication styles, and everything that goes with it. And that for me has probably been the biggest challenge over the last, you know, ever since I joined ministry and I started to do things in a more formalized way with how I was running my own Dhol like career, if you want to call it that. So yeah, adjusting my limitations and having strong ideas loosely held and learning to develop myself and say, you know what, I can be better. It's not always the people that are at fault. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes I need to learn to be better. So yeah, Dhol has taught me a lot, not just in terms of the actual drum itself and the actual gala itself, but it's taught me a lot about how I can be better as a person. So from that perspective, the challenge of people continues to teach me and will continue to hopefully teach me in the future. But yeah, it's already taught me a lot. So it's been a good thing. And I've met some fantastic people in the personal development arena. So, you know, one of the things alongside Dhol playing, which I'm a big advocate of, personal development. And so, you know, I've got a good friend, Sach, who, you know, he's a personal development guy in his own right. He's done incredibly successful things. He's run businesses. He's learned from those businesses. And he's like a really good confidant, a really good brother in the personal development game. And so, yeah, it's been really nice to have people like that. But even, you know, the first person that told me about NLP, Sanj Dassault, who used to be one of the guys from Ritzy, you know, like he was the person that switched me on to NLP. So, you know, again, yeah, so many challenges, but so many beautiful blessings and learnings that all complement what I do today on Dhol.
Okay, so when you were at ministry, was that when elite drummers were there as well? So you got like Devinder, palm, gummy.
Yeah. So
There's
my story at ministry is an interesting one. So like initially when Dhol Foundation were here in Slough, after about 9-10 months, something like this, they left, they closed the class down. A gentleman called Ian approached a few of us that were learning at Dhol Foundation and said, hey, if you guys want to still continue to learn Dhol, I know a few of the guys at the ministry. I can call them down and you can basically have a chat with them. If you guys are happy, then you can take your Dhol learning journey with ministry. So that's pretty much what happened. And that started in about 96, 97-ish, something like this. And then just before my A-levels, I stopped because my dad was like, you're playing too much Dhol, you've got to stop, you've got to do your A-levels, you've got to get a degree and all this sort of stuff. So I stopped for a few years and then I restarted in 2000. When I restarted ministry in 2000, then Devinder was at that class and he was one of Pripal's top students. And then he's obviously gone on to do fantastic things with Elite. I was there up until about 2007. So some of the guys who are now part of Elite, they were originally part of the ministry class, but all incredibly talented Dhol players and really nice top guys, and they all get on with each other, which is fundamental to their success as a team now.
Okay, how are you helping the Punjabi legacy with culture?
Probably not, to be honest. I'm doing too much fusion.
I see that obviously people see that it's a Sardar playing the Dhol. So that's good enough for me.
You know what? Yeah, for me that's probably because I'm not like the best example of a Sikh. Like I wear a bug, of course I do, but I'm not like the quintessentially perfect Sikh. Not that one probably exists, but like I'm not there to promote Sikhi necessarily. But hopefully, what I am doing through wearing a bug is that this is not just part of our religion; it's also part of our culture as well, right?
100%.
Like people wearing bugs in Punjab before it became part of the 5Ks. So hopefully, what I'm doing there is from an image point of view, purely from an image point of view. There's something around, what it looks like to be a Punjabi, that, there's many different versions of it, but I'm just one version of how a Punjabi looks. Hopefully I'm presenting that in a positive way. I'm trying to talk Punjabi on the mic. Hopefully I'm showcasing a little bit of Punjabi on the mic when I do that. And then hopefully, again, through some of the music that we do play to, because it's not all just fusion, there is a lot of Bhangra in what we play as well. We try to make sure that we're presenting the best version of Dhol that we know on the music and the songs that we play to.
Fantastic. Okay, what kind of legacy do you want to leave for the next generation?
Hopefully for some of the people, in fact, I know for some of the people that I've taught Dhol who are now part of my team. So, a couple of young guys, Harkaran and Dhyan, who've been learning Dhol with Dhol Collective for about like 5 or 6 years now. It's an awesome thing that, when they joined the class, they couldn't even play Dhol. They couldn't, they didn't know what Dagar was, they didn't know what Dilli was, they didn't know what Dars, Nas, all these things were. But I've been lucky enough to be able to teach them and get them to a place where they're now performing on stage, but they're actually, they're at that place where if they want to go and play at family functions, if someone calls them up and says, hey, Dhyan, I want to book you for an event, he can have that conversation. If Harkaran, he did an event for one of his neighbors because they've heard him play Dhol and they've probably seen a few videos of him play Dhol. Mm-hmm. And he's at that place now where he's able to do what I did when I was like 16, 17 years old. So that's quite a nice thing, like I say, not everybody that's learned with me has stayed with me, which is absolutely fine. But for the people that have, it's a lovely thing that I've been able to, guide them, not just in terms of Dhol playing, but how to be like a Dhol Collective representative and take that model and use it in a positive way, however you think is right for yourself. And then
how long will it take? So this guy that you just said, the Dhyan, sorry.
Yeah, Dhyan.
So you said he had no knowledge of Dhol, Dagar, Tilli, nothing. And then can he go out on a performance to do performance if he had to like do a wedding?
Yeah, 100%. So these guys, those two, funny enough, I've actually rolled them into the performance team now. So they're like, they're some of the Dhol players that, if we go to weddings and let's say somebody says to us, we need 6 Dhol players, they'll get the call up and they'll be part of that team. But I say that, but in some cases, I'm trying to get them involved a little bit more because I want them to see what it's like when you're going to a private event versus going to a public event. So that's part of their because they've expressed an interest in that. And I've had very mature conversations with their parents. And under the supervision of their parents, this is really important. Under the supervision of their parents, I'm able to give them those opportunities. However, if a student does have the right level of maturity, if I don't have the right relationship with their parents, then it's not something that I can do because it just doesn't work. So, it's not just the student, it's also my relationship with the parents. There has to be a an understanding, a connection, and a shared approach to what it means to be able to do these things. The other really important thing is as well, if I think that door playing is boosting your ego in a negative way, then I don't want to be part of my team. I don't want to be there, because you know what? It's not a good thing. Like, that's probably the one negative thing about Dhol is I think it creates an ego problem with people. And some people say, why do you say that? And I'm like, because Dhol is the type of instrument that I've seen way too many Dhol players that if they're not doing gigs and if they're not playing Dhol, they're unhappy. And you should never be like that, because if you're not doing gigs, you should still get joy and happiness from playing Dhol, because it's the Dhol, it's the instrument, it's the beauty of that drum. That's the thing that causes you to light up.
So when I mentioned the other ministry guys, you said they're doing fantastic. Anyone else would just think, yeah, whatever.
No, but it's good, you know, like, it's really nice that, you know, Prit Pau's still running his class. He's got an amazing group of Dhol players. These guys do the Nagar Kirtan every single year. And that's not easy to do. That's a really hard thing to do. And they've been doing it now for over 20 years. They've been smashing out the Nagar Kirtan, you know, and that's an amazing achievement, right? And they're doing loads of other great things as well. Like, you know, that's only part of what they do. So that's fantastic. Elite are doing fantastic things. Dhol Company are doing fantastic things. Imperial Drummers, who I've never met, are doing fantastic things. So there's so many Dhol, and these ones are just relatively London-based. You know, you've got Dhol players in the Midlands, you've got Dhol players up north, which when I was playing Dhol in the early 2000s, these Dhol groups didn't exist. So, you know, everyone's doing what they're doing from a place of positivity.
They're smashing it as well. They're doing well.
Yeah, these guys are doing amazing things as well. I think they've set up a class, so they're now trying to give back, hopefully, to a new generation. So, you know, it's a good thing. Also, Dhol Show, you know, they started as Paragon Dhol Academy. These guys are, you know, again, doing amazing things. So there's a lot of good Dhol groups. Drumline, you know, there's so many that are doing fantastic things. One of my personal favorites, Team Dips. Dips has recently, you know, started to collaborate with Bobby Benesard. So look, there's amazing things happening with Dhol. There's loads of different styles of Dhol players, you know. So, you know, if you don't resonate with what we do, that's okay, because it's probably there's another Dhol group that you might resonate with, and you might think these guys are the ones for me. That's also quite a nice place to be, I think, with the plethora of different Dhol groups that you can potentially look at and book for your events if that's what you're looking to do.
Okay, how do you inspire yourself? And obviously, there's going to be days when you go to an event and you might see your colleagues on to your left and to your right really not there. How do you egg them on? How do you inspire them?
I don't.
I know that's a lot of leadership skills. So,
do you know what? I don't have to. Like, Dhol is a beautiful thing. Dhol does it in itself. All the Dhol players that are on my stage love Dhol first. So Dhol is number 1, 2, and 3. Period. Gigs, performances, everything else is not what's important. So if you get the opportunity to stand on a stage, that's Vaheguru Di Kirpa right there. That's a blessing, because they could book somebody else. So when you get on that stage, you're doing the thing that you love. You're on a stage in front of an audience that are either receptive to what you're going to do or have seen you before and love what you do. Man, there's so many wins there that I don't have to do anything. I just have to enable everyone to be able to express themselves and do it in a way where we do it as one team. All that hard work happens in rehearsals and classes. That's where the leadership stuff happens, but it doesn't happen when we're on stage, because at that point it doesn't need to. At that point, the magic is already taken over.
Okay, when you're on stage, do you talk to each other? Or is it just practice makes perfect?
So we might talk to each other if we think we need to change something. Or like a good example is from Horsham. They had these 2 mini stages right by the crowd. So we were 9 of us on the stage with 3 Bhangra dancers, Steve Oss and Baby Flex. So there was that's like 13 of us, 14 of us on stage. Quite a lot of us. So it kind of made sense for a couple of the Dhol players to go out. And so we were like, right, you and you go out to the front. And so we might talk if we want to change something dynamically in the set. Where I might say, I'm standing at the front. I want one of the young Dhol players to get an experience of getting slightly closer to the front of the stage to look people in the eye. So I might say to my daughters, right, you come to the front, us 3 are going to move to the back. And so we try to move a little bit to give everyone a bit of equal airtime on the stage. So it's more that kind of communication, not communication in terms of, that type of communication doesn't happen. That happens when we're doing rehearsals, and you keep rehearsing until you get to a point where everyone knows what they're doing. But the only communication really is about how we're optimizing what we're doing in terms of stage performance, not what we're doing in terms of the content that we're playing or the backing tracks that we're performing to.
Okay, what keeps you going when things get tough?
So I've got something that I call passion for positivity. I normally talk about it at the end of our events, particularly when I do festivals, because I'm a big believer in mental health. You know, I qualified in clinical hypnotherapy. Sanj, who I spoke about earlier, switched me on to NLP. So I went through a personal development journey. So some of the things that I believe that help your mental health are doing the things that you love. So passion for positivity are, if you do the things that you love and they're positive, you don't really have to worry too much about your mental health because you're going to be in a place of mental wealth. So again, I'm really lucky because I found that with Dhol, you know, so because I found that with Dhol, and when I play my Dhol, my brain waves change and I'm in a completely different state. I'm in a very sort of happy, meditative, problem solving, open-minded, you know, I'm in this really nice alpha state. I just feel so, euphoric when I'm playing Dhol. But that for me is typically the thing that makes me happy. If it's not that, it's spending time with my family. So, you know, my two girls, doing things with them, you know, doing things with my wife. That's on my vision board. You know, me and the family are building amazing memories together and achieving success. And on the other side is Dhol Collective is known all over the world, spreading positivity and joy. So, you know, when you put those two things together, those things are what are ultimately close to my heart, family and Dhol.
Okay, how do you measure success beyond followers and bookings?
I think the day that people don't smile when they see me and they're sick and tired of seeing me, then I'm done. But so far, whenever I walk into a place, people that know who I am generally get quite happy when they see me. Or, you know, it's a really interesting thing somebody said to me recently at a gig. This was about a month ago. I went to a 60th birthday party and I walked into the place and I said hello to the DJ. And I tend to be quite smiley when I go to events because I always feel blessed. No matter what the event is, I feel really thankful that I'm there. So I'm always happy.
He's coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, people do know who you are. Hopefully, you're seeing me smiling. So, you know, that's an important thing to me. That, you know, like when I go into a venue, like I want to spread positivity and joy. So I do that first off through my smile. So, you know, I try to engage very positively in a very happy way with people. You know, fun fact: every Desi Vibes that we've performed at, and I think generally Steve Ross has got a really good track record on this. You know, there's been nothing but good vibes inside his gigs. No one's getting at each other's throats. Nobody's getting angry. Nobody's getting aggressive. You know, and I like to think that we also play a role in that because when we play Dhol, we're putting out a very happy, very positive energy. And so I think that's a really important thing. You know, like I measure success based on how people react to us. And the day that doesn't happen, the day that we don't get a positive reaction, which I hope never happens, will be the day that I'm like, yeah, now it's time to hang up my dagan dilli. But for now, there's a massive role for Dhol Collective to keep spreading happiness and positivity and joy. So that's what we're going to continue doing.
Okay, why should you be the one person? Why should you be the one person that people remember with Dhol in the UK, about Dhol in the UK?
Say that again. What's the one thing they should remember about us?
Yeah. Why should you be the one person people remember about Dhol in the UK? So like, when I think of Dhol, I think of like Gurchan Mal.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't want them to remember me. I want them to remember all Dhol players. Like, hopefully, what they do is, if they see us perform, if they know Dhol players, hopefully, I make it or the team makes it into that sort of esteemed roster of Dhol players like Gurchan and Mal, who, you know, have a special sort of place in people's minds and hearts, right? A bit like Dhol Doctor Gavi. This guy's got like a star level place in people's hearts, you know, like, and you know, if I even come a fraction to a place of achieving that, then that would be a lovely thing, you know, that'd be a lovely place to be remembered. But yeah, a bit like Gurchan and Mal, you know, I hope that I'll be remembered because we spread positivity. A bit like Dhol Doctor, you know, Ustad Gavi. I hope that people will remember us because we try to stay true to the gala of folk Dhol, you know, like that's been a massive part of my Dhol learning journey. Is over the last 14, 15 years, I went from playing a very UK-centric style Dhol and had to restart my whole, how I learned and played Dhol from somebody that has learned Dhol from a Dhol player who's got a lineage of Dhol players behind him. So, yeah, hopefully people that see me also say, yeah, you know, you've got a bit of a folk touch on your door playing. You know, you're not just playing like, you know, some door players do when they're out there performing. Hopefully there's a bit more finesse in my door playing, there's a bit more of a folk touch, and there's a bit more of that Punjabi essence coming out of my door playing, because that's really important to me. Because when I first heard Dhol, that Dhol, proper authentic Dhol sound, which, you know, there's 2 albums that influenced me. The first one was Dhol Blasters, and the second one was, you know, Shinder Shindar's Dhol Beat. You know, there was a Dhol track on there that it was the first time that I heard Dhol played in that way, because I wasn't really going to a lot of weddings, I wasn't really seeing a lot of Dhol players. So, you know, fast forward to like 2013, when I got an introduction to Govey and I got the chance to learn from him. Like, you know, he didn't have to teach me, and he made it, you know, he didn't make it easy. He was really, you know, very direct in his feedback about my Dhol playing, you know. So yeah, hopefully there's people that also hear my Dhol playing and say, you know, Jadad, you know, you're presenting Dhol in terms of the Dhol that you play, but the way that you're playing, you know, the kinar, on the kinar, the way that you're using a kodagar to do certain things on the bass side of your Dhol, all of that. Hopefully all of that is coming out to the person that I am today. And hopefully I'll continue to develop that and continue to shape that, because that's the other key message is you can be good on Dhol, but you never stop learning. You're always learning. You never stop that learning journey. It is always continuing. To be a Sikh is to be a learner.
100%. Okay, fantastic, Gurdev. And finally, have you got anyone nominated for me to come on and share their knowledge and share their journey for me?
Yeah, do you know what? Somebody in the industry, or 2 people in the industry who were part of a team that really were massive. Like for me, when I was like first getting to a place where I was thinking, oh, you know, I want to play Dhol at slightly bigger gigs. And it was the founders of Sting London, so Allu and Gullu. You know, if I could nominate one of those 2 to come and talk to you about their journey and all the things that, you know, from when they started, I think somewhere in the sort of 80s, where either the mid 80s or late 80s, through the 90s, through the 2000s. You know, I know that a lot of DJs and a lot of Dhol players who have then gone on to DJ have been massively influenced by Allu and Gullu. You know, there's other veteran DJs, you know, DJ Harvey, Haj and Tubbs. There's others as well. You know, if anyone that I've not mentioned, I'm not trying to be offensive in any way, but Allu and Gullu for me, you know, like when Gullu was MCing and when Allu was, you know, on the CD machine, you know, when he just came on vinyl, even when he was on vinyl, this guy was on another level. But when he was dropping stuff, when he dropped tracks and mixes, man, it touched you in the heart, man. And, you know, that's influenced me in terms of when I put backing tracks together, I'm like, what would Allu think of this? Would Allu like it or not like it? And I don't know, he might not like some of our backing tracks. But those 2 guys were, you know,
when you had the Scotch Bar gig when you went on the mic, Allu.
Who did? Allu? I don't think I was there when he did that. But I mean, I've heard him MC many times before. And, I mean, yeah, Allu is an incredibly talented MC. You know, Allu and Gullu are just phenomenal, man. These guys, what they did for the wedding market. Those that don't know should know, and those that do know, they know.
100%. Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
100%. Gurdev, just give me 2 minutes. Let me just say my farewells, and then I'm going to come back to you. Yeah. Right, guys.
Thank you so much, I appreciate you inviting me on, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, man. And don't forget, you're my Gwandi, so don't worry.
Thank you so much. And thanks to Steve for nominating me as well.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Big up, Steve Boss. Love music, hate violence. Guys, thank you very much for joining. That was Gurdev for Dhol Collective. Obviously, check him out on his socials. Go Dhol Collective all over the show. Facebook, TikTok, Insta. Book him up. The guy's got a fantastic team. If you want to learn Dhol, he's the place to do him. He's the person to contact. And make sure I'm back in on the 15th, so Monday, with a lady called Helen Wild. So make sure you tune in then. Like, share, subscribe. Milde break to bar.